begin? All right, I had quite an unusual sort of set of upbringing bits, right? So my mum is from Asia, India.
Okay.
Right, so she's Indian Catholic.
Right.
My stepdad, Guyana, Muslim. Not
Right.
like, you know, I was raised in an environment where the Muslim and Catholic bit was present, but not what it might be at a different time. Yeah. My nan was a big influence in my life, huge influence.
Right.
She was very much a Catholic. I've got her Sacred Heart picture on the wall over there.
Yeah.
So there, you know, I grew up in Tottenham. I went
Okay.
to Wood Green. I've been in Wood Green for many years.
Did not know that.
Yeah. I went to school just down off Hermitage Road.
Okay.
No, I'm local. I've stayed home.
Yeah.
I took 10 years out and went to teach in Hackney, but the rest of the time I've been haringey. So yeah, that's my upbringing. My actual biological father, I never met. So I know very little about.
Right.
That's always presented quite an interesting set of dynamics, one way or another. You know, people do. Where are you from? Who are you? What are you about? So we're still figuring that out.
Do you know anything about him? If you don't know him, you never met him.
I never met him.
Yeah.
I don't know much, to be fair. I had a photograph when I was younger.
Okay.
He looks, from what I can work out, not dissimilar to how I look now. You know, jaunty and you know, a bit of a grin. But I don't know much about him. No.
Okay.
I know his name. You know.
Yeah. Sounds a bit like my situation, to be fair. But yeah.
Yeah, there's mysteries in these things, aren't there? You know? And you grow up with family tales and bits and snippets, and as a child, put bits together, and then you get to a certain age and you go, yeah, I never made sense of that.
Yeah.
And that's all right.
Fair.
Fair. That's the other relax. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, and you know, it wasn't easy in some ways because when I was 3,
Right.
very personal thing to share, but you're saying it's too much info. I'm hoping it doesn't breach anything for anybody, but also it is a significant part of who I am.
Right.
When I was 3, my younger brother, my little brother, who was 18 months old at the time, he died very suddenly.
Oh, wow.
Very, very suddenly. And I think looking back, it was, I don't know what the condition was, but it was a very, very, very sudden thing that happened. And it was a trauma, you know.
Of course, as it would be, yeah.
But, you know, for my mum and for my dad. So I've always grown up with a sense of something else going on, more so than most children would have. That time, I think there's probably more children going quite a lot of traumas now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's quite an influential aspect of who I've become. You know, but that would need a lot more digging, I would imagine, and that's not necessarily one to do on camera.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I do hear that.
I think the thing that always has struck me,
right,
because my brother was, you know, he died, and then the very next day he was buried, because it's the Muslim tradition.
Muslim tradition, yeah.
Hours. So there was a suddenness there that at the age of 3 was a jolt of kind of like, well, what's happened? And the 70s, so we didn't have the support for children and families that you might have now with sudden death. Right. So that trauma, I think, for my parents played out. They were in a lot of pain. Yeah. And not necessarily always easily identifiable what that was about.
Especially when you're young, you can't really process it.
Yeah, they were young, do you know what I mean? They were kids, really. So yeah, you know, and we had lots of good stuff, lots of bad stuff. It's family, isn't it? It's family. Yeah. It's like you all sort of think, no, my family was either really normal, rarely is, or be out there. No, not really.
Yeah.
Perspective, do you know what I mean?
So was you raised with your parents until you left to go out by yourself, or?
Yeah, my parents divorced at 14.
Okay.
And then there was that kind of tumultuous time that comes with that. And then I left home pretty much at 18. And yeah, I've always been quite independent, to be fair.
Yeah. So 18 you leave the kind of family home.
Yeah.
And where do you go then? What do you do?
Oh, now there's a question. So I went and I moved into a shared house.
Okay.
I was 18 years old. I
Yeah.
left school. I became a sales rep
Okay.
for it was a company that's rented TVs and videos, right? Because this is back in the day where you rented a television.
Like radio rentals or whatever they're called, or those kind of places.
So I went off and I was doing that in Edmonton. So I moved out of Haringey for a bit. I was in Edmonton, in a situation. And then I was a sales rep, like a proper driving around sales rep. In this company, they said, because it's in the 80s, so you've got company cars and it was all flash cash. So they were like, well, if you do really well, we'll promote you and you can, pass your driving test, you'll get a car, you're going to be a mobile manager of TV rentals. Do you know what I mean? Honestly.
You carry on.
No, seriously, this was a bad job,
No, it sounds it. I'm not even gonna lie. I can imagine being 18 years old.
Right. Sky TV came on. I can still remember Soul to Soul was the MTV video.
Okay.
It was live, Chooks. Honestly, we'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did that for a while, and then I got a different job being a sales rep, selling cigarettes. Long and really quite tedious way through. And I did that all right for a bit.
Yeah.
But then I left. It's going to sound mad. I'm not even mad, actually. I was just careless. I didn't know much about Hackney at the time, yeah. I was quite green. And I had this company car and used to get all these cigarettes. So every Monday morning, you'd go and get your stock. So you'd go and get like 1,000 fags, put them in the boot of your car, and then go around all the newsagents and small shops and that, go and do fags. That's how sales used to be in those days. And I was there one day and I pulled up in Hackney outside a shop where there was a bus stop. And I left my car, literally left my car with the engine running, Chooks, yeah? Opened the back of the car, took out some fags, went into the man in the shop, said, do you want these fags? He said, no, thanks. And I went back out and my car was gone. Who wouldn't take that car?
Yeah.
An old lady would have watched that foolishness and thought, well, I'm not waiting for a bus. I'll get it. Honestly. And I'd shown everybody the fags. I was like, oh, yeah. And I thought I was nice, I had my 90s suit, my business suit, do you know what I mean?
And power shoulders and that.
Power shoulders, everything. Anyway, I got the sack. So I had to get another job, but I couldn't get a reference. So I went to university instead.
And what did you study?
I did English, and I believe it was, in those days, it was called Third World Studies. Now I would think it would have a different title, but yeah, it was a completely different thing. Yeah.
Interesting. So what made you choose Third World Studies? I'm presuming you were under 20, maybe you're like 19, 20, around that sort of age.
No, do you know, I was a bit older, because I'd worked. Sorry, I left school and worked in a bank first of all. I didn't go straight to sales. I went into a bank.
Right.
Yeah. Years later, when I was with my partner of very, very many years, Denise.
Yeah.
I said, right, at the beginning of our relationship, I said, I worked in a bank. So she took that to mean I knew what I was doing with money.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time. For us both to realise that wasn't true, because I was only ever really on reception doing the statements pitch.
Right.
I knew nothing about banking. I knew nothing about money.
Yeah.
That became apparent. But yeah, so by the time I got to university, it was early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of life experience made you choose that as a subject rather than choosing, I don't know, psychology, for example, or something that is a bit more accessible for everybody? I feel like that's a bit of a kind of a step out of the norm to choose that as a young adult.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, no, probably. I don't know, Chooks. It's a strange thing, isn't it? Because you always think that you're either really, as I say, you're either really normal or you're ordinary or you're not, or this or that. I always stepped out a little bit out of the norm.
Right.
But I didn't think I was stepping out of the norm. I'm just interested. Do you know what I mean? So I did English because I did English at school. I had an A-level in English. And, you know, I used to teach the younger kids to read. I've always valued reading above everything, and being able to teach others to read. So it made sense go and do English literature. Third world studies, I don't know, in those days you could just pick something random out of something interest. You know what I mean? You didn't have to, you weren't paying £50,000.
Yeah.
And you had to be really specific, and I must know my career. You were just
pick something you was interested in and
interested. You know, I mean, I had a grant, so I could live off that, and then you've got your student loan, depending on your circumstances, you use this or that. But you know what I mean? Those were different days. We'd sit and drink and smoke in the refectory and have great lengthy discussions about whatever it was we were studying, and there'd be lots of different groups of people. There was a lot of older students because I went to Middlesex University, you see, so stayed where I was and just, you know, I didn't go into dorms or anything like that. That wasn't. But I was interested. But going to uni really opened up my identity as a woman of colour, because the dynamic here as a mixed race woman when I was younger was I white, was I brown, where did I fit? And, you know, Wood Green and Tottenham in those days wasn't the mix that it became. It was, you know, it wasn't as mixed. So I had a lot of stuff around my own race. There was a lot of discomfort about stuff. So then I went to uni, and I had people from everywhere.
Yeah.
And I studied with people from everywhere. And I really stepped into being proud of the Asian aspect of myself, that over the 70s and the 80s at school, that low-key racist stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like I was wearing dad got beaten up by the NF, you know, words that were used quite casually. And there was always that undercurrent that I felt. And then I went to uni and I thought, no. And then I met some amazing people, including, you know, Den, and utterly transformed my life.
So before we go into the transformation, let me just because something kind of spoke to me there. I remember, because obviously my mum was she was born Tottenham, or she was raised Tottenham and all of that. And she's a bit old. She was a bit older than you, obviously, but I think she definitely kind of spoke. She definitely spoke about.
You know, Jules.
Say again?
You know, I'm a big woman.
I know you are, definitely, but my mum was. I think you're definitely. I think my mum was 60 when she died, and that was like, I don't know how many years ago now. Like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So even though you're probably
big woman.
Yeah, she was a little bit older, to be fair. But yeah, I think that idea of kind of almost, I think it was similar with my mum as well, where university kind of changed the dynamic of how you viewed your ethnicity. I feel like that was a pivotal time for a lot of people at those times. I feel like there was a lot of kind of persecution and a lot of judgment, and I feel like a lot of people kind of had this view that they were seen as less than. Whether they thought they were less than or not is neither here nor there. But I feel like that's something that can kind of get spilled in.
There's enough evidence to show that people thought that people of colour were less than.
Yeah.
Bring it right up to date, and people be sent back on the Windrush.
Yeah. But how did that people's view of you affect how you saw yourself? Like specifically, did you feel less? Did it spill into you? Did you feel less than?
I think what it did is it made me very, very insecure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was never quite sure where I fitted in.
Okay.
You know, at school, obviously I didn't fit because there were the cool kids.
Yeah.
You know, there were the popular kids.
Yeah.
There were the nerdy kids.
Yeah.
There were the picked on kids. There were the everyone's all right kids. Do you know what I mean? And but there were often times, not along those lines, but in other ways, they were very sort of racially separated. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but that was because, you know, there was lots of stereotypes that went through. So a lot of the black kids were put in one half of the school that did more of a sporty.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? There was just that undercurrent that in other areas, like I didn't feel, I didn't look like the other white girls because I wasn't a white.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you can never look like what you're not. But if you're secure in yourself because you've got other things going on, that can spill out in different ways, and we see that all the time. Do you know what I mean? That's not me. That's my man. That's where it manifests in my life.
Right.
I didn't feel proud of who I was. If you went to school and your family had made a curry the night before, it would be smelt on your clothes.
Yeah.
Just one comment. Oh, what's that smell of curry?
Yeah.
To a young heart, that's you know what I mean? So everything as a child. However, I mean, I worry even now, with the coronavirus, say, really grimly up to date.
Yeah.
All the Chinese children who were originally being received with that. And they'll carry that.
Oh, definitely. Even when this is all resolved, when they go back to school, it's still going to be.
There'll still be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So going back to what you're saying about education and university, yes, the more people we are around, the more we learn from one another. Absolutely. We grow in that, don't we? We grow when we're regarded. And that's what going to university is meant to be about, is learning, taking your learning further, taking yourself into a wider sphere so that you can learn and return. Do you know what I mean? It's like we teach, we learn, sounds a bit silly, but that is how it feels to me for education, whether it was back in the 70s and 80s or whether it's now.
Yeah.
Whether we're doing it online or whether we're doing it on books that we used to, or I still got my notebook, I got a pen. I use a pen and a notebook.
As do I.
You what?
As do I.
Yes, do you? You see, that's it. It's an artist's thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Times, just to go a little bit off, in these times, it would only take one switch to switch off all our access to being able to type. But if you've got a pen and paper, you can at least record your story. True.
Very true. And I think there's a lot of people that would benefit. I think I always feel better writing on a bit of paper. Definitely.
Yeah, it's like it extends from your own hand, doesn't it?
Agreed.
You know what I mean? It's like you've got this thing, and it's not the same as also its place. So it's good to do both, but it's having the stories. I went to see something the other day with Toni Morrison not with her obviously, but about her, and she was saying, we're writing down the stories. That's all we're doing.
Facts. Love that. So at university, that's where you met the lady Denise.
I did meet the lady Denise. Yeah.
Which I didn't know. I didn't know that you met at university.
Yeah. She was a mature student, and so was I. I mean, she was more mature than me, but we were both mature students.
Okay. So what was that like? The meeting of minds.
The meeting of minds. Do you know what? It's got to be said. It was beautiful. It was a great meeting, Denise. I can still remember the first time I met her.
Okay.
We became friends for like 3 years, I think, before we became partners. And then we're together for 20 years. So it was a great meeting. Right? Yeah. I'll tell you what it was, right? When I went to uni, I was still dressed and living a life of 90s conformity, shoulders and sensitive shoes and living my great life. And she was the first person I met her at university. She came out of a lecture, and I was talking about this guy, and I went, he's the sort of man that, you say anything and he'll say you're a lesbian. And she was there, and she had this red coat on and lipstick and all this hair, and she went, I am a lesbian, so I don't know what he'd make of me. And I was like, wow. Because I didn't think, do you know what I mean? I didn't know what lesbians look like.
Oh, wow.
The only other lesbian I had met did not look like Denise did. And she was just so open, and I wasn't living an open life like that. So, and she was just funny, and she remained funny until the day she died. There is a... No, really, really. And so many people's lives she touched. So from the moment I met her, her strength and her openness and her bravery and her truth, just like, she was like, well, I am a lesbian, so I don't know what you'd make of me.
Yeah.
And what I loved was that she was never sorry. You know, she was never sorry for being who she was. And I learned that. So coming from where I was coming from, where I kept in loads of things about who I was and where did I belong and oh my gosh and, you know, she was just like, this is me. And you be you.
Yeah. Where do you think that strength came from in her?
Oh, Denise's story is big, you know. Denise experienced things that most of us couldn't comprehend.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't tell you, was she born with it? Absolutely. I mean, today is her mum's birthday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a line of strength through that family. But Denise had a particular strength, you know, but she had an awful lot of childhood abuse.
Oh, wow.
She survived.
Yeah.
You know, it shaped a lot of her life experiences.
Yeah.
In that she was fierce about justice and she was just an incredible woman. You know, you can find all manner of people who testify to that. But that strength, always furious about the injustice of what women should do.
Yeah.
Always. And you know, when I met her, she was studying. I think she did American studies, but she had prior to that been working. I think for Stonewall, lesbian and gay Stonewall, they were housing people, right? So she hadn't been around straight people for years.
Oh, wow.
Right? She'd spent the 80s, which were really, you know, the kind of the time of great progression for a lot of lesbian and gay issues, and she was at the forefront, and her friends, you know, they're very much of a movement. University, and she was really shocked at first that there were all these straight people around, and she was really shocked by their attitudes, which I found hilarious. She was just like, of course.
Like, people still think like this.
Yeah, she really was. And we'd all be sitting around on a Thursday afternoon, for example, you know, just being students, and she'd have to go. She'd go, I've got to go. I'm working with the Kurds. I didn't even know what a Kurd was. Do you know what I mean? It's like I had no politics. I had no idea. I had odd little quirky but quite sheltered and strange life. And then she came along with all this kind of like openness and politics and sense of justice and great intellect. And yeah, she changed it up. She changed.
Sounds like she had this like a sense of she set a sense of responsibility, like personal responsibility to affect your environment and wrongs. Yeah, it sounds like that's what it's up to.
Definitely. You know, Denise came from a very complex. Essentially, you break it down, right? Trauma. Families are hit with trauma. So if there is abuse in a family, if that then goes on to affect how somebody lives as an adult, if that then comes in pet, do you know what I mean? There's so many dynamics.
Yeah.
It's taken me a long time. When we're younger, we go, oh, that person, they're evil, that person's so horrible, that person's done this wickedness, that person, you know, we've all got labels around people's behaviours and how they affect us and whatever. But when we strip it down, we're all traumatised.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, we're traumatised. And it's to a greater or lesser degree, and it's how we play it out, our coping mechanisms we've got, what strategies to. But, you know, Denise's mum was the youngest in a very, very, very poor Irish family. She herself had, you know, her mum died young. I believe, you know, there was lots of alcohol, there was lots of violence, there's lots of poverty, like there is now. You know, it's the same thing. We're looking at, essentially, we're looking at the same thing, right? It's poverty. Poverty and a lack of education means that children end up in vulnerable situations. They get atrocitised. And, you know, two things happen, I suppose. Some make it and some don't, you know. There are children who end up being the adults who are the broken people that we see on the street with addiction issues and mental health and all of that. And then there are the adults who, some indefinable way, go on to do what people do, like Denise did. You know, she started up an organisation that supported women who were trafficked into prostitution. So it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a judgment on anybody if you do or you don't do anything with it. She was always very clear about that. She was always very clear. There's no hierarchy of abuse, Lise, and it's just wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and you do what you do with what you have. And she said, for whatever reason, I have this. It's incredible set of experiences. You know, she came from a very, very quirky, eccentric, quite mouth was the only word she would use. Do you know what I mean? It's just mouth. Definitions, isn't it?
So do you think, that's crazy. Do you ever think about the kind of person or the kind of way that you would view the world if your paths hadn't crossed?
I literally cannot comprehend it.
Yeah.
I cannot comprehend.
You don't know who you would have been without.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea who I would have been.
Yeah.
If I hadn't met then, I have no idea.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's really, really crazy, isn't it? Because you do kind of think, okay. But it is, you start then stepping into, especially in these times when we've had a lot of time to spend on music.
Yeah.
Think about the George Michael song, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Different corner and we never would have met.
Mm.
You can say that about everybody you've ever met in your life.
Yeah.
Because then you've met them and then something else happens and something else happens, something else happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, if I had never met our mutual friend,
yeah,
I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be going where, whatever direction it's going to go.
Very true. Yeah.
No idea in any one moment. So when I met Denise in the canteen that day, and we were standing there, and she was there, and I was like, wow, I had no idea that 25 years, nearly 30 years later, I would be the woman that I've become.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I tell you guaranteed, I'm a better woman for meeting her than I wouldn't have been without. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I was, you know, of remaining in myself and unhappy.
See, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That you, almost like you equate that with kind of being. So, are you meaning like, as in, when you say being within yourself, is that like coming out? Is that like?
Yeah, coming out would have been a different process. But
did
no,
you know before?
Just if you met Denise once in your life, you would know how influential she was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to spend 20 years as her partner, as her other half.
Yeah.
Which is not to say we weren't individually whole, but there is a unity that we had for that period of time that has shaped who and what and how I've grown, if you like. So, you know, the fundamentals are there, isn't it? You know, it's like a tree. If you're an apple tree, you're always going to be an apple tree. No point trying to be a cherry tree, innit? You're an apple tree. Yeah? But you might grow better if you're in this soil and position than in this soil and position. You might end up being some little stunted little apple tree, but you might be some glorious, great big apple tree. You're still an apple tree. You can, no point. You can spend your whole life going, oh, I wish I was a cherry tree. You know, you'll just be unhappy. You know, me, I didn't know what kind of a tree I was. Maybe that's it.
Interesting. And when you met Denise, she definitely knew what kind of tree she was.
Oh, absolutely. Denise had no doubt.
Yeah.
Solid oath.
Yeah. Oh, bless her.
Solid oath.
So, yeah, crazy. So you, all right. So you meet.
We meet.
And I presume you start a relationship. At this point, how soon are you sure that you?
You know what? It's not sure straight away.
Yeah.
In the spoken sense, right?
Right.
Just went to university. We were in the first year. I think we met in January '91. So I'd only been we'd been there a term.
Right.
Courses. We didn't do the same course. I think we had one shared lecture. We met. We just got on, Jooks. We just got on. You know, it's like I found out, yeah, and we were friends for years before anything happened. And when it did happen, it was just sort of very suddenly like, oh, you know, when things shift.
Yeah.
Something will shift. You know, anyone who's ever gone from friends to lovers will know that moment. And it's quite a beautiful moment, but it's got that also carries the edge of going, oh, am I reading this right? You know, if that's your friend and you do that kind of wrong move thing, however that is. But no, we were cool. And so from that moment, you know, I found out years later that she said, look, I was in love with you, but you needed to go off and be. Do you know what I mean? I'd had my, you know, she'd had this whole other out and open and glorious life. You know, I mean, she'd been to Pride every year for years. First time I was to Pride, I was like, oh my God. This was, honestly, I can't tell you the thrill.
Yeah.
I must have been 91. So a long time ago, you know, it's nearly 30 years ago. Pride was different. There was none of this constant sponsorship and everybody's involved and da 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 da. It was like, it was the one day you could go. It felt you were, you know, you're exclusive and amongst people that were like you.
Yeah.
It was great. But she'd been doing that for years, you know what I mean? But it was lots of things about her that influenced anyone who's ever known her, Chubbs, you know, that that courage, that strength, that resilience, that compassion, that doing something with what you've got, you know, that ferocity of protecting your loved ones, you know. I mean, she was fierce. She was fierce, but she was also in her very, very small circle, you know, she was that soft self that we'll only ever show to our closest.
And it's funny you say that, because it's like the few times that I did meet Denise, as confident and as much as she was definitely like I could feel the matriarch energy, you know, like I could feel she was like a leader, but it was had a very motherly energy.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can kind of describe it. It wasn't like I didn't feel hardness. I didn't see hard. So you know those words that you kind of using before, where you're kind of like the resilience and all of these words. They generally, but they, for me, maybe this is just me kind of speaking about my maybe perception of those words or what those words invoke in me. I feel like generally they would be perceived as hard words. They were, or not hard words. They would, if you describe a person as that, then you would equate hardness with that person, if that makes sense. Or having to deal with those emotions would make a person hard. And it's interesting just talking to you now that when I think back to those few times where I did meet her, like I didn't feel that from her. I didn't feel that there was this.
You would need to do that with you because you were not any threat to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were a gentle guy coming in. She, you know, she had a soft spot. She absolutely matriarch is it. But as a matriarch, if you're going to trouble her people, her tribe, her babies, she would fight you. You know, our government. You know, in the air, you know, she used to have. You know, then didn't like necessarily the one-to-one stuff, but the people stuff she would do. You know, she fought long and hard and changed law about women in prostitution. Fierce. Yeah. If you're coming gently, People are complex.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
The wonderful thing about Denise is she always made sure that everybody had space to be who they were. She would see you for who you were, not box you, you know?
That's a beautiful thing.
It was.
That's a beautiful thing, especially as somebody who is generally kind of, it's easy to be judged by how you present.
Yeah.
How it's a beautiful thing when somebody is able to objectively receive you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'll give you an example as well. She was very practical in her support, you know. It's all very loving, but people need to pay their bills. They need to be able to look after their families. Right. So an occasion where somebody that she didn't know but needed work, a little bit about, and she went, And she created a job for this person based on their skill set so that they could fit just for a period of time. Do you know what I mean? She didn't kind of go, I need this person for that. She went, right, I've got this person. What can I use your skill set for in this organisation? Do you know what I mean? So she didn't ask other people to be who they weren't. She'd look and she'd see and she'd listen and she'd go, yeah, no, you go there. You would be no good there. But
yeah.
And that was her particular beauty and strength, I feel, because then she would say, yeah, no. And she'd seen so much and experienced so much, you could never shock her.
Yeah.
Which is reassuring, you know. And it is a neat thing. You can go to your motherly, your matriarch, and go, I've done this dreadful thing. And I feel dreadful, blah, 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 blah. And she'd go, you can't be good all the time. And you feel really much better because the dreadful thing that you've done actually wasn't that bad, and you got it out of proportion, and all of those things, and You know what I mean? Yeah. She was an incredible woman, and I think anyone who ever met her was blessed, unless you got on her nerves, like, in which case you didn't deserve your blessed. I tell you, she got an OBE from the Queen, right, for her work, and then the Tories came in. And they took the money for the project because they were doing that thing that Tories do.
Right.
She sent the OBE, sent it back to them and said, no, you're all right, thanks, I can't do the job. No, you gave me this badge for the job, I can't do the job, have it. He gave back the badge from Madge.
Legendary stuff.
Yeah, well, it didn't mean anything to her. She wasn't going, oh, I've got this thing from the Queen. She was going, all right, so the work has been acknowledged. But if you're going to take away the capacity to do the work, then the badge, what does it mean?
Exactly. True. Fair.
Oh, because I think she got a message she got a letter one time from David Cameron, you know, he must have been writing to various CEOs and whatever. And he said whatever he said, and he signed it Dave. And she wrote back and said, dear Mr. Cameron, blah, blah, blah. And he called her Denise, and he called her Dave. And she was like, we are not friends. Don't call me Denise. And you are not Dave to me. Which is like, oh, just
straight gangster stuff.
Straight. No, don't call me dear Denise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are not Dave to me.
Yeah.
But everyone else, no, she was cool.
Yeah.
Taught me a lot.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like it always. Whenever it does come up. Whenever she does come up, I can see the influence. I can see the love. I can see the kind of. It's almost like it's easy to relive.
Yeah, definitely. Denise has never gone for me. For anything. But yeah, for me, no, of course not. You know, and the beautiful thing is, because energy and love, you know, I don't have to sit in a state of mourning for all of my life to stop loving her or to be in. Do you know what I mean? She just is.
Yeah.
No, separate. Look, I've got a ring on my finger. Right? This is my wedding ring.
Right.
The day that the organisation that she ran, when that lost its funding and it was all over, she died in the August. I think this happened in the September, and the original diamond just fell out on the same day. I was like, whoa. And then we'd had her funeral, we had a cremation, we had ashes. Had the ashes made into a diamond. That diamond there is made of Denise Marshall.
Wow.
She's him. She's him.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Honour.
Real talk.
One of the big people.
So are you, by the way. Just saying.
Well, thanks. I'm not dead yet, so we're cool.
Say again?
I said, well, thanks, but I'm not dead yet, so we're cool.
No, I hear you.
No, it's true. You know, it's like we have to honour each other, Chucks. You know, that's my feeling.
Yeah.
Especially as we talk on this nearly 4 weeks into lockdown, isn't it?
True story.
Different anyway.
Yeah, the energy is. I'm
talking to you, but I'm recalling memories. I'm not feeling what's going on now. I'm feeling that. The energy now is different out in the world, but we've still got all of this love.
There is a lot of love. There is a lot of love.
A lot of love. In some ways, it's becoming really condensed that is what we need because the money's not helped.
Real talk.
Because even the rich people getting sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that can help. Sorry about that, guys, but, you know, usually wealth will protect you. So what have you got?
Seems like you say, I think love and compassion seems to be the only thing that can combat this. Either you're compassionate other people by keeping a distance from them if you know that they're vulnerable, or, you know, something.
Yeah. I think one of the things as well is that, you know, it's giving people an opportunity to be compassionate.
Okay.
Prior to this, we all had to choose, innit? Are you Brexit? Are you not Brexit? Are you Remain?
Yeah.
Are you Leave? Are you this? Are you that? Are you black? Are you white? Are you...
Right.
It was just identity. Are you? Are you? Are you? We all ended up arguing. You know what I mean? Or not getting involved. You know, there's always that, in the playground, there's always two lots, isn't there? There's one tiny little kick-off. Everyone will go, oh, and they're all bundle in. Or there's the group that just stay out and go, no, I'm not involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've got like that. Now everyone's involved. You can't duck it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bigmanbj, you can't duck it. Although he's had a bit of a slide, doesn't he? He seems to have come out.
Yeah.
But we're finding out. We're finding out just what matters, right? Your health is what matters. If you haven't got your health, life is differently difficult. And then you're dead before your time. You know what I mean? It's that. And we take it for granted. When you're little, you think it's going to be forever. When I mean little, like, you know, when you're like in your teens and your 20s.
Yeah.
Well, the young ones are out and about. They don't touch them.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, don't want it to touch them, but they are spreading it a bit. So, you know what I mean? Stay in.
That's why that's what it is. It's that compassion without, and maybe compassion does come with being aware. Awareness is part of compassion, maybe. Because if you're not aware, you can't really be compassionate.
If you don't know something hurts,
Yeah.
why would you bother? But if you know that somebody is suffering because you yourself have felt that, you know what I mean? You can only do things from your own experience. Do you know what I mean?
True story.
Look at anyone who's been through something massive. They're always, almost always, but most of the time, it's always nicer afterwards, a little bit more humble. Do you know what I mean? It teaches us humility.
Yeah.
Vulnerability teaches us humility. That's why young people are often, you know, people go, oh, they're so arrogant, they don't care. What do you do? You're young. Everything works. You can do what you like. You're fun. You're beautiful. Why? Why are you telling me anything?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, and we're asking them to do a lot. You know, and in the main, they're doing it. But I do worry about where it's going to go with them. You know what I mean? Again, it's that thing. Some will be really responsive, and some will go really, really in and feel that separation much more, I feel.
See, that's another thing. When you talk about separation, we talk about kind of isolation. That's a hard thing to navigate, especially I feel like it, especially for a young person or somebody who just hasn't had much experience of all the facets of life, for example. So yeah, that is something I do think about. Kind of how would I think maybe it's hard for me to comprehend because I was raised the only child, so I've spent a lot of time by myself.
Okay.
But
you know,
so it's kind of like
school, didn't you? Do you know what I mean? You went to school,
right. Exactly. I still had friends. I was still, even when I weren't allowed out, you could still kind of, on the way home from school or while you're at school, you can still have that social interaction. So it's hard, even with parents, to kind of have to just stay in the house with your parents when you're like 12 years old, just wanting to just get away from me.
It's hellish, right? I've been thinking about this because you've got all the different kinds of people who are at home.
Yeah.
Now, I'm quite used to being at home because since I got ill, I've had to be at home a lot. Yeah, so I've got experience of being in. I'm not on my own. I'm not isolated, but I am in a lot. So I've got a lot of people like that in my life. So we're all kind of going, well, if you don't listen to the news, it doesn't look like that much is happening. Elsewhere, I've got people with many, many children trying to juggle key worker jobs, trying to, getting it all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the adolescent kids.
Right.
And they're just like,
their life is shit right now.
it's shit. Do you know what I mean?
It's so sad.
So the really young ones, they're having a lovely time, innit? Mum or dad, whoever, they're at home, they're getting to play, they're doing Play-Doh, they're doing colouring, they've got a little routine going on. If you're under about 7, 6, 7, 8, then I don't know what the 9 to 11s are doing. They're working out their self-sufficiency, I hope. Yeah, no, the 12 and up, they're just like, this is shit. This is prison.
This is exactly what it is.
Right.
Exactly
at 12, I reckon they're just going, oh. At 13, they're getting a bit aggy. 14, it's getting tricky. 15, they're looking to duck. And 16, they're dropping them leaves.
They're just waiting for mum and dad to go sleep and jump out of the window. That's what they're on.
Literally. Right? There's some proper moves going on out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're saying to them, look, if you go out there, somebody might die.
Yeah.
Another thing is that to say to children and expect them to understand it.
Yeah.
Because at the same time as we're saying that, we're sending nurses in without equipment.
It's exactly the conversation I was having with my friend the other day.
So, our children are not going out and getting clear messages. I mean, there are no clear messages, I suppose. So we're not, maybe I'm being hard on it. But
I don't think you're being hard at all. I think there needs to be clear messaging.
You
need to just let them do it then.
Stay in. And then you've got all these senior people going off to their second homes.
Right.
And you think, it's a bit moody. Then you've got nurses having to go to food banks. You've got all these people whose businesses are just like locked off overnight because Boris said, don't go pub anymore. Everyone just went, all right then. He didn't tell everyone that was going to happen and nobody got a chance to say, no, nothing.
Yeah.
He just went, no, don't go out. Don't go pub. Don't go cafe or pub. We're closing them. No plan, right? So all those people are out there trying to get by. And what did you read in the papers this morning? The MPs have been given £10,000 each to work from home.
Lucky them, innit?
Yeah, lucky them, innit?
Yeah, and that's another thing. And when you think about all those people, the same people you're saying, we're talking about like the people that run the pubs or the people that go to the pubs, and that's their way of keeping themselves sane when they got to deal with their crazy partner or they got to deal with the kids with whatever. Yeah. And now, not only are the people out of work and out of business, and now they're at home, stressed, dealing with kids that are stressed and lonely and pissed off with. I heard something the other day about is it 5th years, or like year 11 kids that are not going to get their proms now. And you just think, and like all these things that these big experience, or their last day at school.
They've got no finale, no finish.
Yeah.
Lots of them are brilliant because they're just going, well, because it's life and death. So you can't have too much of a hissy fit. I don't get to wear my dress. I don't get to wear my suit. Yeah, and people are dying. So you do have to kind of have perspective.
Yeah.
But we do have to acknowledge the trauma of they've been at school all of these years. Balls passed one day. Boris goes, there's not going to be exams.
Yeah.
School's closed now. I'm not going to do exams. They're all going, whatever. What do I do? Right. Yeah. You've got kids where parents are going, look, you need to work. And they're going, no, we don't. We're not going back to school anyway. Well, we don't know. Do you know what I mean? And so there's again, it'll go back to that thing of trauma. Right? Yeah. A worldwide trauma, Jux. There is nobody in this world right now. It's the thing that is connecting us more than anything else has in our lifetime.
It's fair. Very true.
Yeah. Very
true.
Nothing else. And it's not a leveler, so there's no point going, everyone's equal. No, it's not, actually, because poor people will still die more. That's right?
Because they have to go to work, they have to be out there, they haven't...
No, if you look at the state of America, where it's mainly, the rate of death amongst black people is huge, because actually everything about the lifestyles, socioeconomically, do you know what I mean? The fundamental problem is their healthcare system. It's mad, that healthcare system.
It's crazy.
Like, differently mad, right? And we are at risk of that with this NHS. And so, again, that thing at the moment where everyone's there on the doorstep Thursdays, clapping for the NHS. Happy to do that. If that raises anybody's morale, happy to do that. Much rather that we get the PPE, much rather that they weren't having to die because of a lack of equipment. But everyone knows that, so that's not anything controversial. But there is just something about this whole, the NHS. They've stripped it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Stripped it. Sent all the brown people away. Go back to your country. Sent all the Eurosties people, go back to your countries. They'll only come back if you got so many thousands of pounds. And now they're dropping those thousands because they just want everyone back. Because actually, people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a bit uncomfortable with aspects of this new, he's a hero, he survived, he's a fighter, fight the NHS, stay home, save lives. No.
Yeah.
Have a plan, give the people protection, let us out and let us get on with life because our children are traumatized, our people are tired, and actually this is not the way.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I agree with that completely as far as NHS is concerned. I was literally saying I've got in my jiu-jitsu group I've got a guy that he's works for the NHS. I think he's more physiotherapy side of things and whatever, and he's obviously putting himself in danger on the wards, and I think he's like rehabilitation from whatever surgeries and all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, when I do think about it, I think, okay, yeah, it's good. We do the clapping on the Thursday evenings, and good for their morale, like you said. But like you say, the NHS has been stripped down for years. There's talk about it being privatized, all of these things. Like, how about the people that I just hope that once this is all over, and I've got faith that it will all work out. Obviously the people will lose their life and all of that stuff, but I do think that at some point, not in a like a blasé way, like oh well, people lose their lives, but I think that's inevitable, that it has happened and it's going to happen until the resolution comes. But I do think, or I do hope that once it is all said and done, there will be some sort of addressing of financially compensating people that work for the NHS, for example, teachers as well, all the jobs that actually matter to a society working. And I feel like until that's done, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all just rabble rousing and just
in this country at 5 o'clock, right? From what I can work out, listening to the same thing, right? The same three people on a podium, 2 feet apart or 2 meters, whatever it is, saying the same thing. We're going to start testing, or there's been testing, and there's going to be a peak, or there's not going to be a peak. There's going to be some lockdown. You should have a lockdown. We don't know. There's not any. They're not saying, look, we know you're under pressure with bills. We're going to sort out your rent. We're going to. I don't know. It's because you can't trust the Tories anyway. Trust. There's no trust, babe. And I'm sorry, because I know sometimes people go, oh, this is not a time to be political. We're all in it together. We are all at risk. We're all in it together. We're trying to solve it together.
Yeah.
But you cannot take away, any more than you can take away existing trauma or the trauma that's coming from this. You can't take that away. That for 10 years, this country has been in a state of hardcore austerity that's left hundreds, thousands of people dead. Like deliberately policy making dead.
Yeah. But they don't. People, I think, it's people that don't care.
Money. This is neoliberal disaster capitalism. I mean, look at the state of the world. Come on. It's not like we don't know that everything has been solved within an inch of its actual life. Do you know what I mean? Human beings, the oceans, the land, everything being to be solved. Do you know what I mean? Look, people in Flint, never mind coronavirus, they've been drinking water with lead in it for months, years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, you've got a madman in the White House.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got a sick house in this one. Sorry, in a sick house, a sick man in this house.
Yeah.
On a level, there comes a point where you kind of have to go, like, what can I do to not lose my sanity? Because it's overwhelming, and that's what worries me about children. What are their mechanisms? Do you know what I mean? If they're feeling all these fears, if they're feeling all these worries, anxieties, all of the things that we're all feeling, they're not stupid. Where are they going with it? Some of them, great, they'll have really capable people and adults around them, but lots of them will be on their own.
That's a good point, because when you think about it, it's like I feel like, when we say young people are smarter now than they were, I think they've got access to so much more information.
Well, they're sophisticated, Jux. Do you know what I mean? And we should give them credit for that. Little Greta Thunberg. Right?
Yeah.
That girl's done more for climate change awareness than an awful lot of people. And I mean, everybody that we can put anybody anywhere and have an opinion about them. Okay? Until we realise that everybody has a place, everybody has to, human beings want inclusivity. Yeah. But we do need to be included in our own planet. And only the young ones, I think, have got the energy now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The rest of us, maybe I'm just projecting here, but we're tired. Yeah. And then this has come along. So they're already worrying about climate. They're already worrying about Australia and the Amazon burning. And they've got this. So I suppose my thing would be, how do we support them, but also how do we pass on whatever skills we may have, whatever little, it's just about being an elder now, isn't it? That's what it feels like to me. Yeah. You have to be the elders. And maybe I'm saying that because, this week, a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, her mum passed. And I've known her for, half of my adult life. And it's like she was a significant and profound person in many people's lives. And then there's been somebody, today I'm remembering someone who also has gone. And there are so many people, every day we're reading now 500 deaths, then 600 deaths, then 1,000 deaths. That's a story behind every statistic. It's
crazy. Yeah.
Right? I had time to grieve for Denise. I held her hand as she died. This now that's going around, you can't even be with your loved one.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Right? Now that, you as a big strong man, me as an adult grown strong woman, I'm processing that, you're processing it. How are our children doing it? Yeah. Some of them will act up, some of them will pay no attention, but some of them are going to be, they'll seek relief in other ways. Yeah. That is something that long term we need to look at as a society. How are we going to do it? I'll always come back to my usual little framework. Yeah. Put it under little easy framework. Hahalala. And then we'll have to work within that. But that's all that's what we are going to have to do, Chucks. We're going to have to only focus on what matters, right? You need your health, and you need to have the possibility of cultivating good health. And so many people haven't got that. So we have to always be striving. Right? And mental health is such a huge part of that. And the nasty things that people have got used to saying to each other, the way people speak online, it's not good for your mind. Do you know what I mean? And the way the politicians have been absolutely either, slewed at times, so people come to really despise them, or they themselves have behaved in ways that people are feeling slighted. There's so much division, and the only thing that everybody wants is to be healthy, to be happy, to be loved, and to laugh. I guarantee you that. Even the most crusty person that you can't imagine ever wants to have a laugh, and I have met people like that, can make them smile if you mean it, if there is a human connection. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But we are way beyond that at this point for a lot of people, because we spent 3 years as a country falling. Yeah? I mean, Brexit doesn't even feel important now.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is mad. But at the moment, the thing is, survive and stay sane. That's as far as we're getting. Behind the scenes, all kinds of other things are going on. But at the moment, survive. Don't catch this thing. If you catch it, survive it. Stay sane. Don't lose it at home when you're staying in state. Don't lose it out of panic and fear. Don't lose it. And if you do lose it, make sure you've got people to help you find it again. You know, because people will lose it. But it's also about not demonising people. Not coping and saying, oh, you've got all this extra time, you must learn a new skill and you should do yoga. And, you know what I mean? And you go online and all these people are going, work from home, I'm on Zoom. And you just go, great. And it works. But there is also a need for human connection and reflection.
Fair. Very fair. I think that's another profound one there for me. I think Because I'm guilty of sharing that meme of like, oh, if you come out of this lockdown and you haven't got a new skill or haven't done this, that, or the other, you didn't
Yes.
have, what was it? You didn't not have time. You just didn't have discipline or
You
some judgmental statement. Do you know what I mean?
people judgment going out there,
Yeah,
Chooks.
it's fair. It's true.
Really, we should just do a meme that just goes, "You're a flop."
Yeah, really. Yeah, that is really what's said. That's really what's being said.
Flop.
And you're not even taking into consideration, like you said, you might literally just have fucking 4 kids sitting in your house, sitting down,
4 children sitting.
too angry at the world for stealing their 15th and 16th year of school or whatever it is. You got 2 kids that don't even know what's going on.
With your no money because you lost your job.
With no money. Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
the rent man knocking, saying, "Well, if you can't pay in cash, you can pay in kind." Is it?
Can you imagine?
Yes, I can. And then
It's
people
crazy.
because you want to go and walk in the park.
Craziness. Craziness.
And,
You're not even allowed to go for a walk and say, you know what, let me clear my head before I kill this man.
but even if that was fair, right? So
Mm.
in Haringey, people are getting stopped.
Yeah.
But down in Richmond, people are not getting stopped even when they're flocking along the River Thames, right?
Yeah.
Not apart, right?
Yeah.
Who stops who? It's a really interesting time because we have to take responsibility. We have to self-govern. We have to decide not to. You know, I would love to go out. I would love to go out there, breathing everywhere. You know, touch things. I want to do that. I feel. Right?
Yeah.
On another hand, I don't want to go out there. I'm fully shook. I go out there. I'm wrapping my face. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Where
It's one of them.
does this stop? The nurses and the doctors are going in.
Mm.
The supermarket people are going in. All the people are going in without protection.
Mm.
So what are we all doing? All hand sanitizing and spraying down the groceries and, do you know what I mean? Getting all chapped hands because everyone bought Dettol but nobody bought hand cream. You know that.
This is so true. So true. My hands are hammered right now.
Even that, right? Even the hand washing. People are going to two camps. Some people are going, oh my God, I've never washed my hands so much. They're dry and cracked. Other people are going, you see how you're nasty? Is this new to you?
Yeah.
And there are so many people. Every day we're reading now 500 deaths, then 600 deaths, then 1,000 deaths. That's a story behind every statistic.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Right? I had time to grieve for Denise. I held her hand as she died. This now that's going around, you can't even be with your loved one.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Right? Now that, you as a big strong man, me as an adult grown strong woman, I'm processing that, you're processing it. How are our children doing it?
Yeah.
Some of them will act up, some of them will pay no attention, but some of them are going to be, you know, they'll seek relief in other ways.
Yeah.
That is something that long term we need to look at as a society. How are we going to do it? I'll always come back to my usual little framework.
Yeah.
Put it under little easy framework. Hahalala. And then we'll have to work within that. But that's all we're going to have. That's what we are going to have to do, Chooks. We're going to have to only focus on what matters, right? You need your health, and you need to have the possibility of cultivating good health. You know, and so many people haven't got that, so we have to always be striving, right? And mental health is such a huge part of that. You know, and the nasty things that people have got used to saying to each other, the way people speak online, it's not good for your mind. Do you know what I mean? And the way the politicians have been absolutely either, you know, slewed at times, so people come to really despise them, or they themselves have behaved in ways that people are feeling slighted. You know, there's so much division, and the only thing that everybody wants is to be healthy, to be happy, to be loved, and to laugh. I guarantee you that. Even the most crusty person that you can't imagine never wants to have a laugh, and I have met people like that. Can make them smile if you mean it, if there is a human connection.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But we are way beyond that at this point for a lot of people, because we spent 3 years as a country falling. Yeah? I mean, Brexit doesn't even feel important now.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is mad. But at the moment, the thing is, survive and stay sane. That's as far as we're getting. Behind the scenes, all kinds of other things are going on. But at the moment, survive. Don't catch this thing. If you catch it, survive it. Stay sane. Don't lose it at home when you're staying in state. Don't lose it out of panic and fear. Don't lose it. And if you do lose it, make sure you've got people to help you find it again. I mean, because people will lose it, but it's also about not demonizing people. Not coping and saying, oh, you've got all this extra time, you must learn a new skill and you should do yoga. And, you know what I mean? And you go online and all these people are going, work from home, I'm on Zoom. And you just go, great. And it works. What, there's also a need for human connection and reflection.
Fair. Very fair. I think that's another profound one there for me. I think because I'm guilty of sharing that meme of like, oh, if you come out of this lockdown and you haven't got a new skill or haven't done this, that, or the other, you didn't have, what was it? You didn't not have time. You just didn't have discipline or some judgmental statement. Do you know what I mean?
People judgment going out there, jokes.
Yeah, it's fair. It's true.
Really, we should just do a meme that just goes, "Yo, flop."
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's really what's being said.
Flop.
And you're not even taking into consideration, like you said, you might literally just have fucking 4 kids sitting in your house, sitting down.
4 children sitting.
Too angry at the world for stealing their 15th and 16th year of school or whatever it is. You got 2 kids that don't even know what's going on.
With your no money because you lost your job.
With no money. Yeah, and it's crazy.
The rent man knocking, saying, well, if you can't pay in cash, you can pay in kind. Is it?
Can you imagine?
Yes, I can. And then people,
crazy.
Because you want to go and walk in the park.
Craziness. Yeah, you're not even allowed to go for a walk and say, you know what, let me clear my head before I kill this man.
But even if that was fair, right? So in Haringey, people are getting stopped.
Yeah.
But down in Richmond, people are not getting stopped even when they're flocking along the River Thames, right? Yeah. Not apart, right? Yeah. Who stops who? It's a really interesting time because we have to take responsibility. We have to self-govern. We have to decide not to. You know, I would love to go out. I would love to go out there, breathing everywhere. You know, touch things. I want to do that. I feel. Right? Yeah. On another hand, I don't want to go out there. I'm fully shook. I go out there. I'm wrapping my face. I'm like, oh God. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Where does this stop? The nurses and the doctors are going in. The supermarket people are going in. All the people are going in without protection. So what are we all doing? All hand sanitizing and spraying down the groceries and, do you know what I mean? Getting all chapped hands because everyone bought Dettol but nobody bought hand cream. You know that?
This is so true. So true. My hands are hammered right now.
Even that, right? Even the hand washing. People are going to two camps. Some people are going, oh my God, I've never washed my hands so much. They're dry and cracked. Other people are going, you see how you're nasty? Is this new to you? Yeah, so it's an interesting time, Chucks. You know, nobody will come out of this the same.
Yeah. That's a very, very fair point. And I also think that lovely little segue into your platform and your concept of not just how to deal with this situation, just how to generally, just from my understanding anyway, of how to generally deal with society's stresses and struggles and the mental health and the things that we as people go through in order to kind of navigate life as it is. But how would you describe your concept, your platform, Hahalala? What was the reason for its creation?
Okay, so in a nutshell,
yeah,
I got very sick
Right.
I was 35.
Right.
Head teacher, thinking I was very, very much, in charge of my life and blah.
Mm.
Overnight, bam, I got the news. I had a brain scan, and I was told that I had this disease that would leave me really, really disabled, and there was no cure, and so on. Right?
Right.
I ended up
What disease is that?
multiple sclerosis.
Multiple sclerosis, yeah.
Multiple sclerosis. Now, I'd never been ill. When I got taken ill, when I started to feel unwell, the night I was feeling unwell, I was in the casino. You know what I mean? I was living my life. On Monday, I was in a hospital having a brain scan, and by the Wednesday, they're saying you've got MS. There's no cure. We can give you steroids. Now, in that one moment,
Right.
no thanks. I don't want a beard, because I was really, really vain, and I thought, no. Apologies and respect. Yeah, I'm not. It's no thing about the validity of steroids. Just who I was at that time. I don't
take the risk.
I'll do it myself, because I was furious. Do you know what I mean? I was fuming. How are you telling me I've got a disease that's going to leave me all broken? You've got no cure, and oh my God! You know what I mean? I felt in myself I was too cool to drool. Well, that was a little bit humbling, because sometime later I did end up all of it. Yeah. So I had a complete, in a nutshell, and we can talk about it another time if you're interested. But I had a complete physical and emotional, and I would say mental breakdown. Right. So my whole body was broken. Like, it didn't work. Like the only way I can describe it is if you blew all of the electrics in a house. Yeah, like you had just a massive voltage. Done. Yeah. And after that, you've got to start rewiring it, haven't you?
Yeah.
You can either get an electrician in who knows what they're doing, or you can do it yourself. Which is eventually what I did, like fixing various parts of myself. But one day, I think about 3 years after being incredibly ill and all the things that went on, I sat at the kitchen table and realised that I was feeling healthy, which I hadn't done for a while, and I was happy, and I felt loved, and I was laughing, and I just was writing it down, because the thing that had happened when I first got sick was I lost my ability to speak.
Wow.
My speech, because neurologically the nerves weren't covered, so there was misfiring going on. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. My arm was all cropped up like this for many months. Yeah, it was mad. I thought you knew this. Yeah. So, because I've been living a fast, hard life, Jules. Do you know what I mean? When you make certain decisions in your life, it's only afterwards you think, oh, that might have been a bit of a daft thing to do, right? Yeah. I was living way too fast, under too much stress, and boosting it up artificially. And one of those artificials, a lot of Red Bull. A lot of Red Bull. I don't know, maybe it feels like it was a lot. Maybe, I mean, the cat now, maybe people don't think it's a lot. But I had all these things overstimulating my system. I was working in an incredibly stressful environment and had been for a long time. But I hadn't paid attention. So when it blew, it was a real shock. I was like, oh, God. So I had this experience. And then 3 years after being really ill, slowly getting a bit better, still no steroids. I sat there and I wrote it down and I thought, oh my gosh. And I wrote it down, hahalala. In fact, I didn't start it like that. It started with hahalala, right? Denise came through the door and said, what do you think of hahalala? I just got in the door, you mad bastard. I went, yeah, it doesn't sound right, does it? And I put the A on the end, the all. And then it became hahalala. And then, from there, I realised that is all that mattered. Yeah. It really was. Like, I'd been a head teacher. I'd been on first class holidays. I'd had big adventures. I had all the clothes. I had all the kit. I had the house. I had the car. I had all of those things. This world map up there. I've travelled around this world, But when I got sick, none of that mattered. None of it mattered. What mattered was, could I make it down the stairs that day? If I did go downstairs, would I make it back up the stairs that day? Yeah. So it was from that literal, like when this lockdown came, I'm not that unaccustomed, because when I first got ill, I couldn't come out of the house. I was here. And in fact, it was your friend who was here who used to carry me from upstairs to downstairs and leave me on the sofa in the morning. Oh, wow. Yeah. And it was he who first took my arm, and because you know I live in Wood Green, I'm all around Wood Green. I used to look from my window, I can see the shopping centre. It's only 150 feet away, I think.
Yeah.
Sit there for weeks, Chooks, and look out the window and think, how does anyone walk that far? I thought I'd never get out of here.
Wow.
Like, properly. So he was the first one. He took my arm and I shuffled along.
No way.
Shuffled it. Yeah. Yeah, it still moves my heart. Still moves my heart because, you know, I used to stride around school. I had these big biker boots. I was all over the place. And then suddenly, I could not move or speak.
Wow.
And when I couldn't speak, I had to write. So I ended up writing. And that's how I ended up in a circuitous way. Hahalala. And then I sort of thought, well, if everyone were to just grow their own, yeah, if we focused on, you know, if I'd have paid attention, I wouldn't have been doing the things I was doing. If I'd have paid attention, I wouldn't have been. And I wouldn't have behaved in some of the ways that I did, which came from actually a feeling of discomfort, stress or tension, anxiety, all those things that we do and become snappy and become whatever, do you know what I mean? And you know, that health, you cannot, I mean, even I'm sitting here now and I am healthy, don't really work very well, you know.
What doesn't work very well?
My legs, they don't work.
Okay.
They don't work like they used to.
Wow.
They'll do all right if I do a little bit and I have a stick and, you know, but I'm not going anywhere anytime easily.
Yeah.
And but what they told me 16 years ago was that I wouldn't even be here.
Wow.
Perspectives, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some days I can do more than others, but for every day that you're here, gratitude, man. Gratitude. Yeah, so that's what hahalala is. It's a mood. It's a mind. You know, I've got hahalala mindset. Right, doing this is a beautiful thing. Yeah, very challenging. Right, if I was sitting, it doesn't matter what I do now. I've always got that thing of it's a hahalala mindset. And when I am grumpy and I am unhappy and I am depressed, it's not, oh, you have to be happy all the time. It's just recognizing that it will pass. What do you need? What will help? You know, if I'm depressed, will it help me to eat food that's going to make me feel really well? Will it help me if I eat a chocolate Easter egg? For me personally, chocolate won't help. For somebody else, it will. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be yourself. It's not about judging and going, oh, there's a magic way to live this life. It's not. It's just yourself, isn't it? Trust your body. Trust yourself. Because what I did realise, Chooks, the only person going to be with you a whole life, from when you're born, from when you're dead, is you. Yeah? You're the one here. I can say anything to you. You can say anything to me, but the real truth in here is only in you. You know what I mean? In the silence. That only comes in times of reflection. That only comes with being conscious. But if you're running around and think who you are is the jeans that you wear and the shoes that you're rocking and, you know, how much you've got here and what your Insta likes are and do you know what I mean? That's got space and time and validity. But if you don't pay attention to your health and then boom, it's gone, as we're finding out now, what else matters? Does anyone care about your clothes at the moment? Not really. At the moment, I want to know if you've got corona.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't care about your crap. I don't care about whether you've got corona.
Yeah.
You know, it's that. You know, think about happiness. It's a big philosophical question. What is happiness? My happiness, what makes me happy? Sitting in my room, I don't know, sitting and looking out the window, to somebody else might feel like prison. Do you know what I mean? But what might make somebody else happy might not feel that, but it's about your consciousness. Because if you're in a state of hahalala, you're going to be more pleasant to be around. And other people. That's what it comes down to, right? Bottom line, that's what it comes down to. So often when people say to me, how come you do all these work with boys? I go, look, boys mix with girls, isn't it? So you want them to be fit for purpose. And that applies for all of us. You know, we're all mixing together. Make yourself fit for purpose. Be part of the mix. Be a nice ingredient. Don't poison up the soup. You're going to stink in a nasty way. Do you know what I mean?
That's powerful.
Yeah, it is. Because we're all, you know, there was a song by a group called, what are they called? The song was called Melting Pot, right?
Right.
Look it up if you get a chance. And it was, the opening lines are, take a picture white man, wrap him up in black skin, and a touch of blue blood and a little bit of red Indian. You know what I mean? And it is like mix it all up. We're all doing the same thing here. And right now, more than any other time, we're trying to do the same thing. Corona.
Yeah.
In whatever form, do you know what I mean? Even if it's not directly in you, somewhere globalization means you're going to be affected.
Yeah. 6 degrees of separation, whether that's true or not, that's facts.
That's all it is. So the thing that I have found consistently and constantly for, it must be 14 years now, about thousands of people go, but you want to be hahalala, innit? They go, yeah. So there you go. Let's all join that. Let's all be ambassadors for being healthy. Let's actually consciously seek happiness by being pleasant. You know, you don't need to cuss yourselves, cuss each other, cuss children. Children need to have some manners. Do you know what I mean? It's like we've all got ways to grow more of who the truth of ourselves is. And most of us, do you know what I mean? We're all right. But we've got some edgy behaviours, stink attitudes. I'll tell you this bit, it sums it up for me. I interviewed somebody years ago and I asked her about how the work she was doing might be, you know, take her into houses where people are different culturally. And how she would kind of respond to that. How she would meet differences. And she literally said, she went, well, some people are clean, some people are lazy and nasty. Just put it up. Do you know what I mean? Have a clean attitude, have a clean mind. It's not about clean, you know, OCD, although I do like things to be clean and tidy. But it's cleaning of spirit. You know what I mean? Don't be wishing people ill. Don't be running up gums and getting too involved in online. Oh, you know, oh yeah, me too. No. Like me being involved in the rubbish, not the campaign. You know, don't get involved in the stuff.
Yeah.
It's lazy. It's nasty.
Yeah.
You know, don't think it's all right just doing it for you. We're all here. You know what I mean? Be clean. Be clean in your intent. Be clean in your aim. Be clean in what you want for the world. You know, we want clean air. We want clean relationships. It haunts me that there are people in houses right now in this lockdown locked in with aggressive, disturbing people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I say people because there will be both. There will be large increases in DV. Huge numbers of women are going through absolute atrocities doing this.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, Chooks, you know, you can get drained by the sorrow of it all.
Yeah.
And that's important as well, you know. It's just for me, going back again to hahalala and all its manifestations, you know, it gives you a chance to just catch yourself. Am I serving hahalala here? Am I growing it or am I draining it?
That's the point as well. So
I can look at those statistics and I can either go, right, let me do what I can to educate or support or do something, or am I going to just look at them and go, oh my gosh, or about anything, you know, any trauma. We all feel it, but we have to be able to, and this is a really big thing that I've learned over the years. You've got to learn yourself well enough to know when you're slipping into something that is not good for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So for some people, they can do that, not a problem. They can read the news, not a problem. They dissect it and look at it and they go, yeah, and they're fine. Other people, they read it and they weep and they get more and more anxious and they get more and more, oh my God, I can't do anything. Oh my God. Do you know what I mean? So I veer between them. And when I'm on point, I can clock where I'm at. And when I'm not on point, my friends can clock where I'm at. But in this isolation time, we've got even more vigilance for ourselves. And I think it's the nicer way to do it is to do it through hahalala. You know what I mean? Not punishing, just go, all right, is this good for my hahalala? No, it's not, you know, let me go outside and do that.
Yeah.
You know? I can see this really, really serious situation. You know, it's not hahalala for children to be hungry. Be like the head teacher. He's going around 5 miles a day, sometimes going around delivering meals to children. That is a hahalala. Yeah. It's like the crack dealers down the road who actually are paying a bit of attention, right? And are making their own provision for their hahalala. Right? And don't come too close to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're all out here just trying to survive. But if we could survive,
having to navigate the same.
We're all on the same ship. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, you're going on. You're looking at warships. You know, oh, I've got that. You know, bottom line, everyone's hoping to not get corona or their lives or their people or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So let's have some compassion here.
Yeah.
Compassion with yourself. It's a lot, isn't it? You've got a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. What I'd love, because I don't think you did, is what is the hahalala
What does it stand for? Okay, so
stand
hahalala.
for? What are the letters? What's the acronym?
It's health,
Mm-hmm.
happiness, and love, and laughter, all. Ha ha,
Okay.
la la. Right. So I've had lots of situations where I can just say to people, ha ha, and they go, la la. I'm wishing you health and happiness. I'm wishing you love and laughter. We're nice.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken that around all over the place, and nobody has said to me, "Nah, that's not for me," you know.
Yeah. How could you? How could you?
Hmm? How
How
could
could you? How could you not? How could you say that's not for you?
or even
Yeah, I don't want people to get
no, you're all right, thank you. I'm not, even politicians who I know we sometimes feel operate differently. Even Ed Miliband, I gave him a hahalala card once.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're running the country, what are you running it for? You want to create health. You want to create happiness. Look at your population. Right? People want security. People want an income. They want a home, and they want enough to eat. I mean, we've scaled it down. Corona is really making people look at what matters. But
Yeah.
what really matters is your health, your happiness, your love, and your laughter. All of it. For all of us. In my humble opinion. And I just think it'd be nice if we were all ambassadors.
Yeah, I think if what we was talking about the other day happens as well, I think it will happen so much quicker. Because I feel like your perspective, I think if you just put your perspective out there, as
Yeah.
you do, to be fair, the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning was your post on Instagram.
Oh, which one?
So that was the one about, what was it about now? It was,
I did two. One was about the baby bell and the worry people, and the other one was about Denise's mum's birthday. So,
yeah, it was that one. It was that one. But it was a lot about the just the energy and the positivity, and that's what I think is needed, man.
yeah, it's funny, Chuck. So thanks for saying that. I have a real question sometimes because you don't want to just go around in these times in particular. Oh, let's all be hahalala. People
Yeah.
are fighting for lives and livelihoods. So I don't want to come across in any way flippant. I'm sitting in privilege. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I struggle sometimes because I don't want to dismiss anything or anyone.
Yeah.
But I want to step into my perspective and my privilege and share and say, look, no matter how bad, whilst we've got life, we've got hope. So
Yeah.
get your mind strength, help ourselves, getting our bodies strong. And everyone's got different things. So it's
Yeah.
not everyone's got to be wedged. Do you know what I mean?
I swear, do you still do yoga or?
I do still do yoga. Yeah, I do. I
So
do.
don't go. Listen, I've done a 20-minute yoga thing on YouTube, and I thought I was gonna dead. So don't go like I'm the strong one here. Some of the positions there that are keeping up with, I've got no hope right now. So
No. You see what's happened with yoga, right? People have thought that yoga is all about bending up yourself into this position and namaste and I can stand on my head. No, it's not. It's about something far more subtle. It's about unity within yourself and alignment and attunement with your body, your mind. Yeah. So yes, there are lots of things and there's a lot to be learned. But right now, especially in these times, it's a little bit too much pop-up yoga. If you don't learn how to do yoga in this time, it's a bit punitive.
Yeah.
I would say gently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got no hope but to do it gently because
Yeah.
the one I tried it a few months ago, to be fair, and I said I was going to do it every day, but that one class I was like, listen, I need to go gym to come back to do yoga.
Yeah.
My body to even think.
To be fair, I don't do as much yoga as I was doing a little while ago because I can give you a little romantic story if you like.
Go on then. Romance.
So essentially, a couple of years back, Denise had passed for some time. I was kind of forming life. I was going all right, but physically I needed to be kind of strengthening. And a friend said to me, "What do you need?" I said, "I could do with a yoga teacher, really." Because I can't really go to classes. By the time I even get up the stairs, I'm done. Do you know what I mean? No point in trying to do it. I once tried to do a class somewhere. So the yoga teacher came along, and I had an immediate like, "Oh, hello." So we did yoga for a while, but it turns out that she also had a similar, "Oh, hello." So yeah, some magic has occurred, and so it happens. And so we have love again. So yeah, I fell in love with my yoga teacher and don't really do much yoga anymore, but I'm having a nice life anyway.
Yeah.
I don't do you know what I mean? I just can do that on YouTube. That's all right.
Does she still teach yoga?
She does, and actually she's done amazing because she has very helpfully and supportively continued to do it via Zoom, just for existing people and classes, so that still being held and supported in this time. Because it's a bit, everyone's out everywhere. You're used to seeing people every week doing movement, doing something that is very good for you.
Yeah.
Now you can't go. So yeah, I've been quite admiring. She's, I can't do the tech. I haven't done anything like that, but lots of yoga online. Yeah, but not doing a she does. She's not a typical yoga teacher. That's what I'd say.
Okay.
That's not to cuss any yoga teachers. Oh my gosh, take all of that. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, I feel like this has probably been the best conversation I've had, probably.
Really?
I feel like, yeah, definitely. Because not only am I comfortable speaking to you, so I feel a bit more free, but I do feel like your energy is, and your story is one of how can I? Because I even wrote an introduction of like the stuff that I do know. How I was gonna introduce it was I'm gonna say, what I do know about you, and then I want to fill in the gaps, all the other stuff that I don't know. So I've written here. It says, beautiful person, cares for people, energy, articulate, compassionate, and answer. That's how I was gonna start it. Which yeah. So don't worry, that will go in the description. Yeah, but I think what this has kind of shown me, especially about just you and just people in general, is just that behind every compassionate and caring and thoughtful person, there is a level of challenge that they've had to overcome and growth that they've had to go through that you can't always tell. You can't always see from your vantage point, if that makes. He's talking about privilege before, but it's kind of privileged on my perspective, where I know you can make assumptions who people are and what they've experienced and what they've been through. So it's amazing to kind of hear your growth and how Denise facilitated that growth in a lot of ways, and how you've taken that growth now into, new relationship, a new stage in your life, a new start to the journey, which I hope I'm going to be seeing lots of content regarding.
What, my journey? What, my yoga journey?
Yeah, all of that. But I want to hear you. I want to hear you speaking just about your perspective on things.